You're the funny one. The one who lightens every room. The one people call when they need to. The one who always has a joke ready before the silence gets too, and almost nobody knows how much you're actually carrying. Because the moment things get serious, the moment someone gets close to the real thing, you turn it into, the moment someone asks if you're okay, you smile. And you say something that makes them laugh instead of answering. And they laugh. And the moment passes. And you're safe again. If that's you, stay with me. Because there's a reason you learned to do this. And it's not because you're naturally funny. It's because at some point in your life, being funny was the only way to survive. Psychologists call this humor as a defense mechanism. And it is one of the most sophisticated emotional survival tools a human being can develop. Because unlike shutting down or lashing out, it works. It keeps people close while keeping them away from the one thing you cannot let them see: the pain. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Research in Personality found that people who consistently used humor to deflect emotional conversations scored significantly higher on measures of childhood emotional invalidation. Meaning they grew up in environments where their pain wasn't taken seriously. Where being too sensitive was the problem. Where vulnerability made people uncomfortable. Where showing how you really felt made things worse, not better. So they adapted. They learned to package the hard things in a way that didn't make people around them uncomfortable. They became the comedian. So nobody had to deal with the tragedy underneath. Think about how this plays out in your life right now. Someone asks how you're doing. You say something clever. Something that technically answers without actually answering. You go through something genuinely hard, a loss, a failure, a moment that breaks something inside you, and the first thing you reach for is the funny angle. The meme. The joke. The self-deprecating comment that gets a laugh. Because if you're laughing at it, it can't destroy you. And people love you for it. They think you're resilient. Easygoing. Unbothered by things that would break other people. They have no idea. Nobody sees the version of you that exists after everyone goes home. The one that sits in the quiet. And finally lets the face drop. Here's what this costs you. Real intimacy requires showing the unfunny parts of yourself. The scared parts. The grieving parts. The parts that don't have a punchline. But every single time you deflect with humor, you send a signal unconsciously that says, this far and no further. I'll let you see the performance. But not the performer. And people, even the ones who genuinely love you, eventually stop trying to get past the jokes. Not because they don't care, but because you've trained them without meaning to accept the version you're comfortable showing. So you end up deeply known for your humor. And completely unknown for everything underneath it. That is a specific kind of loneliness that is almost impossible to explain to anyone. Because from the outside, you have everything. You're liked. You're fun. You're the one who makes every room better just by being in it. But inside, there's a version of you that has been waiting years for someone to look past the joke. And ask. No, really? How are you? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes you use humor to protect other people from your pain. Not just yourself. You've seen what your sadness does to rooms. You've felt the shift when you got too real. You've watched people get uncomfortable, change the subject, not know what to say. So you learned to carry it alone. To make it funny so they didn't have to feel bad for you. To laugh first so the moment never became too heavy for anyone else. But here's what psychology says about carrying pain alone for too long. It doesn't go away. It compresses. It finds other ways out. In your body. In your sleep. In the 3 a.m. moments when the jokes stop working and there's nothing standing between you and the thing you've been running from. You cannot laugh yourself out of grief. You cannot joke yourself out of loneliness. At some point, the pain needs a witness. Not an audience. You became funny because you had to. Because somewhere along the way, your real feelings weren't welcome. And you were smart enough and caring enough to find a way to still connect with people, without burdening them with what you were actually feeling. That's not weakness. That is an extraordinary amount of emotional intelligence used in the service of protecting everyone except yourself. You are allowed to not be okay. You are allowed to say the unfunny thing. You are allowed to sit in the hard part without immediately reaching for the joke that makes it easier for everyone else. The real you, the one underneath the performance, is not too much. You just haven't shown them yet. And somewhere out there is a person who will sit with you in the quiet. Who won't need you to be funny. Who will ask how you really are. And wait for the real answer. You deserve that person.